Okay, quadratics part 2. First off, it's been a few days, but let me remind you what the standard form. We've been working with vertex form of the quadratic equation, but now we're going to standard form. Standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, or it can be ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So if you had, let's look over here, this 2, this is technically a, or I'm just going to write little a. This is b, and this is c in standard form. So each one of those represents a letter. So a is 2, b is 9, and c, in this particular equation, it's -7. Now, we are going to learn about the quadratic formula. So before, one way we can solve the quadratic formula is by factoring, right? We draw a box, and we figure out two multiples, factors that would multiply to make the n number. And also we did from yesterday completing the square. So we took the square root of both sides, and then we set them equal to each other, and there should be a plus and minus, and then you add or subtract the other number to one side. Now, the quadratic formula 1 works on every single equation. With factoring, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you can't factor it. The factor doesn't come out nicely. I've been giving you everything that comes out nicely. It no longer works here in this case. There are some equations you just can't factor, or the factors are just so weird that there's no way you're going to think about it in the out of the top of your head. The quadratic formula solves all of it. Like right here, if I try to factor this 2x squared plus 9x minus 7, there's no way I'm going to be able to figure that out right off at the top of my head, or even trying. So the quadratic formula, without even having to factor or figure out anything, it will solve it for me. All I have to do is plug in the numbers. And here's the quadratic formula here. You want to write this down. So write this down. So it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So let me repeat this to you. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So now let me show you how to solve this using the quadratic formula. So our 9 is b. So our equation, negative b. So here, negative 9 plus or minus the b squared. So b squared, that makes 9 squared minus 4ac minus 4, a is 2, c is -7, so -7. I'm just going to put that in parentheses, just remind myself, 4 all over 2 times a. A is 2 in this case, so 2 times 2. Now I'm just going to simplify, just so I can put all this in a calculator, but it's easy to make mistakes, so I try to simplify first before I put it into the calculator. So this is -9 plus or minus. Remember, our quadratics always have 2 answers, so we want to try to find 2. So that's where that plus or minus comes from. 9 squared, if I punch that into your calculator, is 81. 4 times 2 times 7, right? -4 times +2 times -7 in the calculator becomes +56, divided by 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, I'm almost there. I'm just going to simplify this some more. 81 plus 56 is 137, so -9 plus the square root of 137. Divide that by 4. And now I can punch this into my calculator. I'm gonna try to simplify this more by just punching in 137, the square root, just so I can have a number to work with. So I have -9 plus or minus about 11.7 divided by 470. So now I'm going to punch in. So one of my answers is going to be -9 plus 11.70. And then once I punch that all in, I'm going to divide it, press equal, divided by 4. The other answer is -9 minus 11.70. Punch that in, equal, divided by 4. Try this on your calculator. You should get, for the first answer, you should get 0.675. And the second answer, you should get -5.175. I'm gonna just round this to 2 decimal places. Well, we can leave at 2 or 3, but yeah, let's say 2. So 0.68. If you give me either, I would accept either. 1.7. Either answer would be correct, but I'm just leaving it here at 2 decimal places. So this is how you punch it in. It is just making sure you punch in the calculator and you put your numbers accurately. So this is the quadratic formula. Remember, this is A. What stands for A? So -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Let's do another example. Here, x squared minus 9. So this is A. A here is 1, because it's an imaginary 1 that we don't see. This, we don't have a b. B is next to an x. There isn't a number next to the x. So b in this case is 0. And our -9 is c. So if I plug that into the quadratic formula, this one I can factor simply and solve. So in this case, if it was just me and I didn't have to use the quadratic formula and I know how to factor quickly, I already know this is x plus 3, x minus 3. So the answer is -3 and +3. I'm just going to show you how you can get that answer using the quadratic formula, because it solves each and every single scenario. So now, b, which is 0, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 0, minus 4. So 4 times a is 1, c is -9, divided by 2 times a, 2a is 1. So let's simplify this some more. Plus or minus -4 times 1 times -9. That is +36 if you punch it into the calculator, divided by 2. The square root of 36 is 6. So this is actually +6 over 2 and -6 divided by 2. Those are our two answers. 6 divided by 2 is +3. And -6 divided by 2 is -3. So there you go. Here's our two answers using the quadratic formula. So this, if I factor this, I know this is factorable. This is x plus 3. This is x minus 3 equals 0. The answers come a lot quicker, and I didn't have to do all that, but this is showing you that the quadratic formula will solve every single scenario. Let's do another example here. Let's put it in. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 1. So -2 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 1, 4ac, divided by 2a, so 2 times 1. Simplify that some more. -2 plus or minus 2 squared is 4. 4 times 1 is 4 over 2. Oh my goodness. 4 minus 4 is 0. And if you take the square root of 0, it's going to be 0. So here in this special case, we only have one answer because this plus or minus sign, plus or minus 0 is going to be 0. So here, this is simply negative 2 divided by 2, which then negative 2 divided by 2, our answer is just negative 1. So in this particular case, the answer is just one answer, and it is negative 1. And in a graph, if I have to try to explain this, it's like our parabola is here, and it just touches, the end just touches right there at negative 1. So that is why we only have one answer and not normally two, because if you graphed it, it would be right there. Let's do one more example. Okay. A is 3, B is 1, and C is 1. So negative 1 plus or minus the square root. B squared is 1 squared minus 4 times 3 times 1 over 2 times 3. If I simplify this, is negative 1 plus or minus 1. 4 times 3 is 12. 2 times 3 is 6. Negative 1 plus or minus, 1 minus 12, that is negative 11 divided by 6. If you remember, if you punch in a negative square root, we cannot have a negative square root answer. So there is no solution. Remember, we cannot have a negative square root. This is no solution. Try your best. Write down the quadratic formula. Put this up one last time to do the assignment. You need to have this written down. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Use the rest of the time to work on your assignment.